You think I'm crazy online? Oh my gosh. So you need to wear a mask when you come onto campus, of course, the whole time. But when you come to Sensei Live, you need body armor. Because guess what? It gets crazy in F106. F1, you guys don't even know where my classroom is. All right, let's get to work. Let's talk about an inverse function. What is an inverse function, okay? So inverse is almost what it sounds like it is, but it's not all what you think. When you think of an inverse, inverse of right is left, inverse of up is down. What if you have an inverse of a function? So let's take a function. Let's take a function. F of x equals x squared plus 1. Let's take that function here, the orange function. Now, what is the inverse of f of x equals x squared plus 1? Well, here's how you solve for the inverse. We're just taking notes, so follow along. Here are the steps to solve for the inverse. Instead of writing f of x equals x squared plus 1, we are going to write y equals x squared plus 1. We're going to write that. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to switch the x and the y and say x equals y squared plus 1. And then we solve for y. So we take away 1, take away 1. X minus 1 equals y squared. And to get y squared by itself, we take the square root. And this ends up being y equals the square root of x minus 1, or y equals the square root of x minus 1. But the proper way to write it would be like this. Here's the inverse. The inverse of f of x equals the square root of x minus 1. Okay, so that's what the inverse. Now we write a negative 1 in the exponent to show that that's the inverse of my f of x. Negative 1, this is the way we'd read this, is the way we'd read this is the inverse of f of x equals square root of x minus 1. Not f to the negative 1 power. Don't read it like that. We say the inverse of f of x equals square root of x minus 1. Now let's graph these two, shall we? Where's my blue pen? Blue pen, blue pen. Backpack, 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 backpack. Backpack, 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 backpack. Okay, x squared plus 1 means we go up, right? The graph means we go up 1. That's my k, right? And let's go over 1, up 1, over 1, up 1, over 2, up 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. That is my f of x. That's what it's going to look like. Now let's take a look at these points. My points are this. My points. I have negative 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So negative 2, comma 5. This one is negative 1, 2. This one is 0, 1. This one is 1, 2. And then here I have 2, 5. So my points for my f of x. My f of x function, I'm going to write it right here, see if I can fit it. Can I fit this? I have my x and my y. I got negative 2, 5, negative 1, 2, 0, 1, 1, 2, and then 5, 2. Now my inverse, here are my points for my inverse. Watch this. the points of my inverse function where I got negative 2, 5, negative 1, 2, 0, 1, 1, 2, 2, 5. Here are the points of my inverse. You ready? Instead of negative 2, 5, my inverse is going to have an x of 5 and a y of negative 2. I should do that in green, but anyway, I'll keep it in blue. Instead of negative 1, 2, my inverse is going to have an x of 2 and a y of negative 1. Instead of x of 0 and y of 1, I'm going to have an x of 1 and a y of 0. Instead of 1, 2, I'm going to have 2, 1. Instead of 5, 2, I'm going to have 2, 5. So let's graph that and see what it looks like. By the way, if I plug in 5 here, 5 minus 1 is 4, square root of 4 is negative 2, and oops, so screwed up here. This should be 5, 2. Sorry. No, wait. What did I do wrong? This is 2, 5. Oh my gosh. Sorry. This is supposed to be, this last point is supposed to be 2, 5, 2, 5. So that means this last point should be 5, 2. Okay, so that's better. If I plug in 2, 2 minus 1 is 1, square root of 1 is negative 1. 1 minus 1 is 0, right? Anyway, so that's that. Now let's see what that would look like as a function. 5, negative 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, negative 2. Boom. 2, negative 1. 1, 2, negative 1. Boom. 1, 0. 1, 0. 2, 1. 1, 2, 1. 5, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2. Now look at this. Here's what the inverse looks like. Inverse of f of x. So the inverse, couple things about the inverse. I just showed you three things about the inverse, I think. Number one, if you're given the equation of the function to find the inverse, you switch the x and the y and you solve for y. Number two, the inverse, the function, the inverse, the xy is the yx. You flip the x and the y. So you go like this, and then you go like that. Number three, if you graph a function, the inverse is not upside down of that function. It's actually going to be kind of sideways, just so you know. Number four, because I'm talking incorrectly, this is a function. Is my inverse a function? Is the inverse of f of x a function? Let's go with Abraham. Is it a function, the green?
No.
Why not?
If you draw a vertical line, it's gonna pass through it twice. Right?
That is 100% correct. So it is not a function. Okay? The final thing. This is what is always going to happen with the functions to see if they are inverses. Sorry, this is what's going to happen with inverses every single time. Let me rewrite these. F of x equals x squared plus 1. The inverse of f of x equals the square root of x minus 1. You know I can tell if they're inverses? If you plug the inverse into the function, you should get x. What are you talking about, Sensei? Well, if I plug this into that, or if I plug that into that, same thing should happen. But let's do it. Instead of x squared plus 1, instead of x, you plug in this whole function. Made it kind of big. Square root of x minus 1. What happens? Well, first thing is the square and the square root cancel out. So it'll be, they cancel out. So you're left with x minus 1 plus 1. What is minus 1 plus 1? You just have x. If you only have x left over, then you know they are inverses. You plug them into each other and you have x left over. They are inverses. Those are the notes. I think we're ready for the homework. Are there any questions?
Where did the +1 come from? Oh, okay.
I just plugged this. That's what this is x squared plus 1.
Oh, okay.
But instead of x squared, I plugged in square root of x minus 1. And if you solve it, if you have x left over, they are inverses. Are there any other questions? All right, let's get to the assignment. Let's look at number 5, okay? And I'm going to go, I think I showed you everything that you need to know, but I'm going to go somewhat quick. All right. Number 5. Okay. We're doing every other odd. So sometimes I lose track. Catch me if I'm doing any problems here. In exercise 5 through 12, solve y equals f of x for x. Then find the inputs and the outputs of -3. Okay, so each of these kind of take a little bit of time. All it's saying is switch the x and the y. Okay, let's plug in, let's look at our first function. Number 5 says f of x equals 3x plus 5. Okay? All right. F of x equals 3x plus 5. And they want us to plug in x equals -3. So let's plug in -3 here. When we plug in -3, we get -4. Okay, so that's the first thing. That's easy. Now let's solve for the inverse. So let's go with our inverse problem. F of x equals 3x plus 5. First step, write it y equals 3x plus 5. And then we switch the x and the y, and we solve for y. X equals 3y plus 5. Okay, guys, go ahead and solve for y. I'm going to call on one of you. Tell me what it is. What is the inverse? Go ahead and solve that. I'm going to call on one of you. I'm going to call on who's ever not doing the work, actually. Well, I don't know. Maybe you're all, if you're all doing the work, then I was calling someone random. Let me take a look at it. Or maybe if you don't have your camera on, then I'll just like call on you because I don't know if you're doing the work. Here we go. I'm looking at you. I'm looking at you. Are you pretending to have your head down and scribbling on the paper? Or are you really doing it? That's what I want to know. Okay. I have a couple candidates because I have no idea what they're doing. All right. 10 more seconds. Start spreading the news. All right, Elise, what'd you get? New York, New York. Elise Williams. Elise, are you there? I'm going to mark you absent. I must have an acknowledgement that you are in my class currently. Start spreading the news. Oh, she says, I'll be right back. When did she say that? 2:10? That's 12 minutes ago. All right, fine. Uh, let's go with Nathaniel.
I got y equals x minus 5. Oh, I mean, yeah, x minus 5 divided by 3.
Elise just came back. Y equals x minus 5. Actually, well, you have to, what about the 3? Sorry, I got to subtract 5. Am I showing subtract 5 on both sides? You got the x minus 5 right, but then you still have the 3y. So you could divide by 3. Nathaniel, did you say x minus 5 all over 3
Yeah.
is the inverse?
Yeah.
All right, cool. I didn't hear that. But that's cool. There's my x minus 5 all over 3 is the inverse. So in the fx, we plugged in -3. We got -4. So let's plug -4 into this. -4 minus 5 is -9. Over 3 is -3. So when I plug in -4, I get -3. When I plug in -3 on my function, I get -4. When I plug in -4 on my inverse, I get -3. All right, let's move on to, let's see. So that was 5. So 9. I'll do 9 also fairly quickly. Then we'll move on to the next bigger and better things. So we got here 9. Okay, so we have f of x equals 3 times x cubed. What if x equals -3? Okay, so let me show you here. Let's plug in -3 into our equation. So let's plug in -3 cubed. -3 cubed is -3 times -3 times -3 is -27 times +3 is -81. Okay, so now let's solve for the inverse. I'm just going to go do this really quick. I'll let you guys try to do it with me. But here, let's go f of x equals 3x cubed inverse. What's my first step to solve for the inverse here? What's my first step? Let's go with Brianna. What's my first step?
I'm not sure on this one.
All right. Stay with us, Brianna. Keep your microphone on for a second. Carlos, what's my first step?
Divide by 3.
The first step is to, Carlos and Brianna, it's easier than you think. Make the f of x into a y. Brianna, you got that?
Yeah.
All right, Carlos?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, what's the next step that we're supposed to do, Brianna?
Divide by 3.
Not yet. Carlos, what's the next step?
Hold on, I'm thinking.
Emma, what's the next step?
Do you switch the x and the y?
Yes, Brianna, what do we do? What's the next step?
Switch the x and the y.
Yes, Carlos. Switch the x and the y. Switch the x and the y. Say that. Say it. Say it. Carlos.
Switch the x and the y.
Yes. Okay, now we solve for y. Now, Brianna, now we divide by 3. Just make sure you guys get that step. You got to switch it. And then we take the cubed root to get rid of the y cubed, to take the cubed root. So it's going to be y equals the cubed root of x over 3. So that's the inverse. So let's write our two functions. Well, let's write the inverse right here. The inverse of f of x equals the, so you guys got to be able to do that on your own. Cubed root of x over 3. And so we should be able to plug in -81 and get -3. So let's plug in -81. Okay, -81 divided by 3 is -27. Cube root of negative 27 is negative 3. And so look, we plugged in negative 81, we got negative 3. Our function, we plugged in negative 3, we got negative 81, and our inverse, we plugged in negative 81, we got negative 3. Those are the inverses. Inverse. That's 9. Are there any questions on that? Make sure. First thing, you switch the f of x to a y, then you switch the x and the y. Right, Brianna?
Yeah.
All right. Right, Carlos?
Yeah.
Yes. Carlos, you going to be in the classroom on Tuesday? I didn't hear what you said. If if you're not, I'm going to cry, man. But it's okay. It's just because I'm going to miss you. Carlos, are you going to be there? I can't even hear you. Like, turn on your microphone, but you're not talking. You're not? Oh, gonna
No, I'm
cry.
not gonna be there.
Oh, I'm gonna cry.
I'm
But
sorry, Sensei.
I understand. I understand. You got to do what's right. Oh, dang it. I'm sorry. I got to stop this crying here. Oh. Carlos, I'm sorry. Oh, okay. Whew. It's okay. I'll get over it. Carlos, I'll be fine. Don't worry, man. Don't stress about me. Okay. Thank you. Whew. All right. Okay. That was number 9. Let's see what else we can go over here. Number 9 on the homework problem. 13, I think, is the next one. 13. Oh, yeah. Okay. In exercise 30 to 20, find the inverse of the function, then graph the function and its inverse. Okay. So 13. Is 13 next? Or am I skipping something? Or am I don't know. Let me know if I'm wrong, counting my every other odds. I get them so confused. Maybe we should just do all the problems. You know what I mean? Would that be better? Anyone not like the every other odd? Maybe we should do all of them. Or just the odd. Get more problems done. You know what I mean? F of x equals 6x. Okay, so they want us to write the inverse and then graph the function. Okay, Brianna, I'm sorry to bother you, but what's the first step? Do you remember?
Put y equals 6x.
Yeah, very good. And then Carlos, what do we do next?
Switch x and y.
Yes, and then we solve for y. So we divide by 6. And we get y equals x over 6. Or the inverse, let's write it like this. Okay, so let's graph 6x first. Okay, we're going to graph 6x. Let's do it in blue. Couple ways we can do this. Okay, 6x. Plug in 0. What should we do it in green? Plug in 0. Right? Actually, my x is 0. Then my slope is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 over 1. Any questions what I'm doing here? I'm just using slope-intercept form. If you have no idea, let me know. I'll explain. So that's y equals f of x equals 6x. So to graph the inverse, all you have to do is just figure out the points are. This is 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is 1, comma 6. This is 0, comma 0. This is negative 1, comma 6. And my points are 1, 6, 0, 0, negative 1, 6. To graph the inverse, you just flip them. 6, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, positive 1, 0, 0, and wait, that seems weird. Oh, this is -1. This is -1, -6. Right? -1, -6. -1, -6. So -6, -1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, -1. And you just connect the points, and that's how you graph the inverse. (13, 15, 17 is next. Let's see if I need to show you how to do 17. Are there any questions on 13? Pretty self-explanatory. Those are all linear. Those are going to be lines, and those are functions. 17 is the same thing. I'll let you guys do that. 21. Find the inverse of the function f of x equals -3x plus 4 by switching the roles of x and y. Okay, just do that. Just do that method. Inverse operation in the reverse order. Just do the switch the x and the y. So 21, 23, 25. Okay, I think 25 is next. F of x. Okay. In exercise 23 through 28, find the inverse of the function, then graph the function and its inverse. Okay, so same thing, except it's not linear. So let's solve for the inverse, then graph the function and its inverse. Or let's see. You want to find the inverse and then graph both of them, right? Okay, there's my function. Am I presenting? Okay, there's my function. So wait, what number is this? 25. We're on 25. Thomas,
Yeah.
am I going too fast?
No, you're going good.
Okay, good.
Pace.
All right, thanks, man. Okay, so I have f of x equals x minus 3 cubed. Let's solve for the inverse. So I'm just going to do it kind of cool. You guys, what do we do? Y, right, y equals x minus 3 cubed. Then switch the x and the y. And then you just solve it. How do you get rid of the cube first? By doing the cubed root. Then we add 3. And we're going to say y equals the cubed root of x plus 3. So that's the inverse. So and the plus 3 goes on the outside. Is that right? So it's that. Okay, so let's graph the function. Let's graph. We know how to. Oh, cube root. Am I going to fit it in? The cube function. And is the inverse going to be a function? Okay, so now remember, this is the h. Let's graph it with, we know our technique. This is the h. It's minus 3. So that means at plus 3 is going to be my vertex. 1, 2, 3. There's my h. Let me push over because I want to get my whole screen here. Let me clear things up a bit here. Push this over here. Push it. Ow! Oh! Ow! Okay. Oh! Ow! Oh my gosh. Oh, okay. I'm okay. I'm okay. Okay, so we have here, so we're graphing this one. F of x equals x minus 3 cubed. So I'm going to put the plus 3, 1, 2, 3 here. That's my h, right? So, right, -3, I go over 3. And then we cube everything. So Go over 1. What's 1 cubed? It's 1. Go over 2. What's 2 cubed? It's 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I don't know if it'll fit the bottom one. Negative 1 cubed is negative 1. Negative 2 cubed is negative 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so that's my cubic function. That's my f of x. Now, what about my inverse? What's that going to look like? Well, let's find these points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we got 5, comma 8 is that point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. 4, comma 1 is that point. 1, 2, 3. 3, comma 0. And 1, 2. 2, negative 1. And then 1. Negative 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And so my points are going to be of f of x are going to be 5, 8, 4, 1, 3, 0, 2, negative 1. I'm going to run out of room here. And 1, negative 8. My inverse, sorry, I'm going to get, so the inverse is just going to be the opposite, right? The inverse of f of x, sorry, that's an f of x. Oh my. 8, 5, 1, 4, 0, 3, negative 1, 2, and negative 8, 1. And so we just go ahead and just plot those points, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. No, sorry, that's an 8. Can't even read my own handwriting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got to get there. Sorry. And then 1, 4. 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then 0, 3. 0, 1, 2, 3. And then negative 1, 2. Negative 1, 1, 2. And then negative 8, 1. 1, 2, 3. Sorry, negative 8. Yeah, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1. And so that's how you graph it. Woo! There's the inverse. Of course. We'd rather know this plus 3 is the k of 3. 1, 2, 3. Look at that. That's the same. And that's that. And remember, to see if there are inverses, if I can fit this here, we plug in f of inverse of x inside the f of x, and they should become, right? They should become x minus 3 cubed. So instead of x, we go cube root of x plus 3. So guess what? The cube is going to cancel that out. And it's also going to cube that, which will be 27. Cube that would be negative 27. And so 27 minus 27 cancels out, and we just have an x left over. Anyway, that's that. That's a lot. That's 25. Are there any questions? Bum 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 bum.
Wait, what's inside the first f, like in the parentheses next to the f?
Right
Yeah.
there?
Mm-hmm.
The inverse of f of x is this.
So you put that in there?
Yeah, and you should have an x left over if they're inverses. That's how I was showing you there.
Oh, okay.
You plug the inverse of f of x into the f of x, and you should have the same. And that's another problem down the line in the problem. So I just jumping on that. You'll see it again in the in the next problems or so. Are there any other questions? All right, let's look at 29. Donut, 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 donut. Okay, the errors. You guys get the errors. Look at here, this one. Y equals x minus 3 plus x. Y equals negative x plus 3. They switch the x and the y, but they switch the negative. You don't switch the negative. You got to just switch the x and the y. That's the problem. 29, skip 31. Okay. But 33 is the one we're going to do. But this one says, use the graph to determine whether the inverse of f of x is a function. So remember, the inverses go sideways. So if it's like a v, it's absolute value. Guess what? The inverse is not going to be a function because it goes sideways, and it will not be a function. This will not be a function. It's going to be a sideways u, not a function. Sideways w, not a function. Sideways f, this will be a function because it'll just go like this. But anyway, 33, the inverse is not a function because it'll be a sideways w, and it'll fail the vertical line test. Let's look at 37. So 37, so determine whether the inverse of f of x is a function. So 37, it's going to be a square root. The inverse will be squared, which will be a parabola. And parabolas are functions. So if you took the inverse of that, it'll be x squared. All right, so the x squared will be a function. I think we're on 37. So 37, we have f of x equals the square root of x plus 4. And then, so that's a 4. So the inverse, is it a function? Y equals square root of x plus 4. So we square, y squared equals x plus 4. Oh, I forgot to switch the x and the y's. I'm going too fast. Let me start over. Switch the x and the y. X equals square root of y plus 4 out of the glare. Now we square it. X squared equals y plus 4. And then we say y equals x squared minus 4. Well, it's a parabola, so that's going to be a function, right? You could see that that's a function. So yes, 37 will be a function. I did that super quick because I think you guys can do that on your own, but let me know if that was too quick. We're going to move on. Okay, I'm going to get rid of this in 10 seconds. Let's see, 37, 39, 41 should be the next one. 10 seconds. 41 is next. Da-na-na-na-na-na-na. Okay, what are they asking here? Oh, it's the same thing. Okay, determine whether it's going to be a function. So $47. What is the inverse? I think we're on 41. No, we do 45 next. So do 45, 47, and then 49. Okay. Determine whether the functions are inverses. This is the last one we'll do. So we'll do 49. Determine whether these are inverses. So we have f of x equals 2x minus 9. And then I have g of x equals x over 2 plus 9. To determine if they are functions, if they're inverses, determine if these are inverses, you go like this. You plug in f, and you plug in the g of x right there. So you plug the g of x into the f of x. So let's write the f of x real big. 2 times x minus 9. Instead of x, which we had here, you plug in the x over 2 plus 9. So you multiply 2 times x over 2 and 2 times 9. So that's going to cancel out, and 2 times 9 is 18. And then 18 minus 9 is just 9. But nothing else I can do. There's nothing else left over. I just have an x plus 9, not an x. So they are not inverses. No, what Darth Vader said when he first found out that Padme died. No. No. Are there any questions? I don't even know if they I don't know if it's 100% that they're going to open up because it still has to be red tier, something like that, by tomorrow. So I don't know if it is or not. No. I'm going to get rid of this in 10 seconds. Okay. That's about it for today. If you don't have any questions, I will see you guys tomorrow. Remember, reviewing, check your understanding. And we have a test review tomorrow and the test on Wednesday. I'll see you later. Goodbye. Unless you have questions. Bye, Samuel. Love you. Bye, Alonzo. I love you. Bye, Julissa. Bye, Ethan. I love you. Bye, Connor. I love you. Bye, Ian. I love you. Bye, Thomas. I love you. Samantha. I love you. Bye, Melissa. I love you. Bye, Miley. Bye, Linda. Bye, Naveed. I love you. Bye, Emma. I love you. Bye, Billy. I love you. Bye, Abraham. All right. Anyone have questions?
Yeah, I have a question, Sensei.
What's up, Carlos?
For 49, you said it was not an inverse. I don't understand why it isn't an inverse.
Okay, let me show you one that is an inverse. Let me do two that are inverses, okay? On the example problem. Let me write it up. Okay. Give me a second here to write it up. I have f of x equals 3x minus 1. And I have g of x equals x plus 1 over 3. Okay, these are inverses. Let me get to presenting here. Okay, Carlos, can you see?
Yeah, I could see it.
Okay. So you don't have to write this down because this is an example problem, but you can if you want. To figure out if they're inverses, what you do is you plug one into the other. It doesn't matter which. I'm going to plug the blue into the orange. So I'm going to say, instead of f of x, I'm going to say f of g of x. I'm going to plug that g of x in the f of x, okay? Now, what does that mean? That means I take my f of x, which is 3 times x minus 1. Instead of x, I plug in the g of x. Okay. What are we trying to figure out, Carlos, before we move on?
F is an inverse?
Yes. If g of x is an inverse of f of x. So I plug it in. Do you understand that step so far?
Yeah, I understand it.
Now let's simplify. So 3 times x plus 1 over 3, guess what? Those 3's cancel out. Okay?
Mhm.
So this ends up being what's left over? X plus 1 minus 1.
Mhm.
Now, what is 1 minus 1?
X. Or yeah, it's just X. Oh, okay, it makes more sense now.
So if you do that, it ends up being a function. But the one that we did,
Had an
I ended up
X.
with an X plus 9,
Mhm.
not an X. So they're not. That's why I did the
And
Darth
an
Vader.
inverse only has an
No!
X, right?
What?
Inverse only has an X, so
Yes, they're
the
inverse.
other one would be an inverse. Okay,
Yeah,
that makes sense now.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah, yeah.
thank you, Sensei. Have
You're
a good
welcome.
day.
You too. What's up, Angel?
I maybe it's because I didn't go to that class. But how do you graph 25? Maybe that's what you guys went over in like 4.2. I wasn't there that time.
Hang on, let me find it. Yeah, probably. It's okay, I'll show you. 9. I have all these papers there. I just throw them around. I need a binder like you guys. Do you have a binder?
Just a notebook.
Yeah, that's what I meant. That's what you're supposed to have.
Yeah.
Oh, I found it. Okay.
Question 25.
Yeah, yeah. The x minus 3 cubed. How to graph that?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. All right. So we had what we called the h and k. We did that with the parabolas, where we can write this as y equals, well, all these letters, a times x minus h cubed plus k.
Mm-hmm.
If I had a function that looked like this, let's ignore the a for a second. Y equals x plus 2 cubed minus 1. That means my vertex, okay, my h and k, this is my h. The 2. Do you remember this or no?
The H and K, yeah, but not in cubed. I don't remember.
Okay, it's the same. So the h and k, remember the h is opposite, -2, and the k is -1, stays the same. So that means at -2, -1, that's where my vertex is going to be.
Okay.
Like if it was a parabola, the vertex would be this, right? You'd move this over. But with the cubic function, the vertex is the point where it kind of curves like that. That's the vertex. Wait, shoot, that's sorry, that's not the cubic. The cubic function looks like this. -2, negative. Cubic function looks like this. So where it kind of curves, that's the vertex, okay?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So now going back to this problem, my k is 0. There's no k there. You with me so far?
Yeah.
So what's my h?
-3.
+3. Remember, it's the opposite.
Yeah.
So my vertex will be at, here's my h, here's my k. My vertex will be at +3, 0.
Okay.
Okay, tell me when you're caught up.
There.
Okay. So where does that mean my vertex is at 3, 0? So that means I go over 1, 2, 3 zeros right here. All right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now we can ignore all this. We know we're cubing everything that we plug in here. Okay, so if I go over 1 from here, what's 1 cubed?
1.
1 times 1 times, so it means I go up 1. Now start back here. Let's go over 2. What is 2 cubed?
8.
8. So that means I go up how much?
8 or 7.
No, you go up 8. It's going to be 8.
Mhm.
Now let's go the other way. What is -1 cubed? -1 times -1 times -1.
1.
No,
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah, -1.
-1. So go down 1. -2 cubed is going to be -8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then you just connect the dots.
Okay, I got it.
So you do that with all of them. Like the cube tells you what to do. So you cube it. Cube your x's to get your y's.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
All right.
I forgot
You're welcome,
I
man.
missed that day. I need to watch that recording.
Yeah. You know, I realized you could watch them in double speed. Like where I talk twice as fast. So if it's an hour, you just get it done in a half an hour. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Sensei.
Or go slow with the parts you need me to slow up and stuff.
Well, actually, I did have one more question.
All right. What's up?
Number 5.
Yeah.
Check the self practice solutions because I was confused.
Okay.
And I don't think I did it right.
Okay. Number 5. Well, this is what we did in class.
Yeah.
The solution's different than what I did.
I think so, or maybe I just confused the letters because I got x minus 5 over 3 equals y, but it says it's y minus 5 over 3 equals x.
Well, just do it the way I did it. Don't look at the answer key right now.
Okay.
Because I kind of did it in a different way. Oh, yeah, they just wanted to switch the x and the y, but we went and solved it. So they just did the first step. We did the whole thing. We found the inverse. So they made it easier. I made it harder, but still do it my way. So they just switched the x and the y.
And
Wait,
then the other one was -4, and right there says -8 over 3.
yeah, well, you plug in -3 there, but I plugged in -3 into both equations, -3 and 4. So just, I mean, you could do it this way, but my way, this is just like the beginning. I kind of went to the advanced.
Oh, okay.
So the way I did it, it'll help you with everything. So I
Okay.
just misinterpreted the instructions.
Thank you, Sensei.
You're welcome, Angel. Take care, man.
You too. Bye.
All right. Bye.